The Book of Faith initiative of the ELCA was ratified at the Churchwide Assembly in 2007, and it's a 5-year initiative that has received funding from the National Church. And the impetus for this is, as I understand it, the previous church assembly that occurred in Orlando, there was a discussion, many of the thorny issues with regard to human sexuality were being deliberated by the delegates, and the way that the Bible was being used as people were making points from the floor was disturbing to many people who had received theological formation in the ELCA and the predecessor bodies of the church. And so the North Carolina Synod wrote a memorial to the National Church encouraging the church to engage in a process of study and deliberation with regard to the use of the Bible in the ELCA because of what they called the disconcerting differences in the way the Bible was used to come to some clarity with regard to issues of human sexuality. And so that was the impetus of it, I think, or that was at least a presenting impetus. I think there's also been a sense for some time in the ELCA that the church has rich resources in the area of biblical hermeneutics, but has not focused on those resources. And then in lieu of materials that are coming out of the ELCA in the area of biblical interpretation, people have a tendency to go to other publishing resources for biblical helps, and oftentimes the underlying paradigm of biblical interpretation that informs these other books are not necessarily informed by the Lutheran theological tradition. So there's a sense that there's a need for a deeper theological formation with regard to the Bible in the ELCA, and also the ongoing issue of biblical literacy, which is not a new issue, is also concerned with some people that people should be encouraged to return to the Bible and to engage the biblical narratives in a way perhaps the church has not prioritized in terms of its programming, national programming, since the formation of the ELCA. So those things came together, and people got very excited about the possibility of an initiative that would give some theological guidance to people in the ELCA with regard to Scripture, as well as give the church some new materials that would perhaps encourage a new level of commitment to basic knowledge of biblical content.